on theology. And therefore, their process is much more about, let's say, a dogmatic approach. However, when we're talking about God, there are certain things that just are not expressed there, that we can't put words on. We can't stick a label on it. And this is where we begin to get into the Spirit. The Spirit is that means by which we are connected to God, and it brings about this unity of our person so that we experience God in our totality. So therefore, in church, we're talking about things involving the church. It's not just about that I come to church to smell incense, okay? And it's not just an experience because, well, that priest is kind of a lousy preacher, but I can kind of put up with it because I appreciate the theology of the church. It's supposed to be an all-encompassing act of coming to church in which all parts of us are involved. And this is why the body is just as involved in worship as our minds and our spirits. You know, because we are in a fallen state, these things don't work together very well. Okay? Our spirits are cut off from God, and this is that we're trying to restore that. But when that is cut off, the grace is not flowing down. The body is looking for pleasure, it turns to the soul. The soul is looking for pleasure, it turns to the body. Everything is a big mess. And so sometimes, for example, our minds tell us, I don't want to go to church today. It's ugly. I've heard that a couple of times in my house. A couple of times I think I said it even. But, you know, then there's other times where the body just doesn't want to get out of bed in the morning. Okay? The mind says, yeah, I want to be there. But the body says, no. When we make the sign of the cross, we are tying together, we are recognizing, we're acknowledging that we are a complete person. We're involving our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. It is tying together all of these various things. It's tying them up. It's drawing them together. Like there's in some of the hymnody of the church, it talks about Christ's arms outstretched on the cross, and he draws the world to himself. We are drawing ourselves together. When we hear the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, we're drawing that in, and we're bringing ourselves into unity the way that we're supposed to be. It's a way also of drawing us into focus. You see, our daily experience of who we are is in little bits and pieces. Sometimes I think about my back because it hurts, and then I think about what I'm not going to do for dinner this evening, and then I'm going to... And our minds are scattered. Have any of you ever tried to meditate? Raise your hand. And you tried to meditate. Oh my goodness, 20 minutes, right? And the millions of thoughts, random. They're all over the place. And then your body is telling you, I itch, I don't, can I get up, can I move this leg? We are scattered. And then, and this is the really annoying part, how many of you have had a situation where you came away and you were either angry or you were sad and you had no idea why? You have this all the time. Why am I so upset with this person? And you have to think about it for a while and go, oh yeah, this person reminds me of X and this and that. See, our perception of ourselves is scattered, is what the Fathers teach us. It's scattered here and there, and we don't focus. We don't focus. What we're called to do is bring all that scatteredness together into a unity. To be, this is called awareness. To be aware of who we are. What's really going on inside of us. What's going on around us. Who am I really dealing with? You see, if I'm not paying attention, okay, if I'm not paying attention to how things really are, I'm not going to be able to be fair to, let's say, a mirror here, because I'm thinking about a mirror. You know, I knew a guy who looked just like you, and he beat me up and took my milk money, and so I'm not going to like you, and I'm going to treat you bad. But he didn't do that. if I forget that, he's a different person. If I become scattered, because all my being is disrupted, I'm going to miss out. So when we come into the church and we're making that sign of the cross, part of it is to focus ourselves on what's really supposed to be going on. That we are here for God. We are here to be with God. We are here to offer God our bodies, our souls, and our spirit. That we lay aside, as the liturgy says, we lay aside all earthly care, everything else except what is needful. We need to work on that, because the less aware we are, the more problems that we're going to run into. And then, what do you think starts happening when we're not aware of things? We start committing sins. Because when we're sinning, we're going against the way things are. And we wouldn't do that if we really saw what was going on. Because if we become very aware and our system is functioning the way it is supposed to, who do we become aware is present? God. When we come into church and we're not aware that this is God's house, we're going to have problems. We're going to forget why we're here. We forget that He's always watching us. And then ultimately, this is the biggest tragedy of it all, is if we forget God enough, then we'll begin to forget that He really loves us. And then when we get into trouble, boy, are we in trouble, right? Where's God right now? Where is He? Just had Him here a second ago. Wait, I forgot. I must have left Him in the car. We must always be aware. And so the church gave us this gift of the sign of the cross to wake us up, to help us focus on what's real, that God is here. He's not only on this side of me making the sign of the cross, He's also on the other side of it too. That God dwells within you. He's closer than your own skin. And He loves you. Because that's why we do this. We don't do this out of fear. We don't do this out of just going through emotions and looking good at other people. We do this, we should do this, out of love. So, that is all about the sign of the cross. I bet you didn't think that it was that involved. But it is. It is a tying together of our human persons.